question here. Next one comes from Aaron Martinez. Aaron asks, who do you think are the next 3 guys to commit to Oregon? Hashtag Ducks Dish. Appreciate you using the hashtag on Twitter, Aaron. So right now, where are we at with the recruiting calendar? We are in the dead period. The recruiting dead period started pretty much at the end of June. That's why we saw Oregon really go all out to bring in a lot of high caliber official visitors. So right now, there are a couple of commitment dates for Oregon targets that we know about. And then some of these guys, as we've seen in the past, are going to be so high profile that they choose to drag their recruitment really out into the finish line, maybe even past that traditional late or second signing period in February, because we're seeing so many guys sign and commit during the early signing period in December. But as for your question, the next 3 guys, I'm going to give my best shot here. So I think the first guy that comes to mind is the one that is set to announce his college commitment in the next 2 days, and that is Burien, Washington offensive lineman Micah Benuelos out of Kennedy Catholic. Talked to Micah a couple times throughout the recruiting process. Great kid. Dude is just a mauler. Some might think that he's a little bit undersized. I think he's about 6'2.5", 6'3", 290 when it comes to his frame. But that dude knows how to finish blocks, plays with just a nasty swagger that you want in your offensive lineman, and he's really, really high on Oregon. Where do things stand as we sit right now, 2 days away from his college commitment? He is working from a top 3 of Oregon, USC, and Texas A&M. Really, really, talented, really, really highly ranked, storied programs for the most part, right? With those 3 schools. Oregon did get the last official visit. Just doing a little bit of scrolling here on the interwebs, just so you guys know, a programming note for Micah Benuelos. He will be announcing his commitment on Monday, July 25th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. That is on CBS Sports HQ, as well as the 247 Sports YouTube channel. So that's a guy that you got to keep an eye out for. I think that Adrian Clem and Vianney Mcvay have done an awesome job recruiting him and making him a priority. Think about how much success Oregon's had in the state of Washington as of late. I think that's another thing that bodes really well. The Ducks already have Caleb Presley in the fold from Washington. And then if you're rewinding the clock a little bit, you have Josh Connerly, the number 1 ranked offensive tackle from 2022, an offensive lineman that the Ducks were able to get over USC. Will they be able to repeat that again? I'm feeling pretty good about where the Ducks stand there and their chances with Micah. Micah did speak really highly of Texas A&M and just of SEC football. That's big boy football, as a lot of people call it. He was saying that he likes that the Aggies don't baby their guys. They really hold everyone to a high standard, and that's huge. So I think for the Ducks, I think that Micah has to be one of those top tier guys that you really want. Major priority on the recruiting trail. The Ducks haven't landed an offensive lineman of just yet in this 2023 recruiting class. You already have a lot of those pieces coming together on offense, right? You have Dante Moore as your quarterback. You have Dante Dowdell as one of your running backs right now. I think the Ducks are going to try to get 2 backs in this 2023 class. You have Jurion Dickey as a wideout. You have Ashton Cozart as a wideout. Now you need to start filling out the trenches on the offensive side of the ball, especially with how many guys they're set to lose after the 2022 season along the front lines of the offense. So I'd say Micah Benuelos is probably one of those guys that I think Oregon could be in a great spot for. That college decision, again, coming on Monday, July 25th. Make sure you guys stay tuned with me on Twitter at @mtorsports and on ducksdigest.com. We'll have all the commitment coverage to see where Micah Benuelos announces his commitment to. So we'll see where Micah ends up announcing his commitment to on Monday. But moving along, I think another guy that you have to keep an eye on is staying along the offensive line, Miles Mcveigh, big-time offensive lineman out of East St. Louis. He was also in Eugene for his last official visit. Not his last official visit, but his most recent official visit, I should say. So Benuelos and Mcveigh Oregon got both of those official visits before the dead period started. I think Mcveigh's recruitment is a little bit more open. He did announce a top 6 the other day. So right now, Miles Mcveigh, he's working from a final 6 of Oregon, of course. We got Oregon, Michigan State, Alabama, Texas A&M, Mizzou, and Jackson State. Right now, Mcveigh has set a commitment date for August 11th. Looking through my notes here. August 11th, 7 o'clock p.m. So if that's, oh, wait, hold on. 6 o'clock p.m. I'm trying to see what time zone is East St. Louis in. Give me a second here. Okay, so this graphic that he sent me was 6 o'clock p.m. But then this press release that he sent me says 7 o'clock. So it's either 6 or 7 o'clock Central that we're going to be looking for the college decision of Miles Mcveigh. And this is going to be, I think, a little bit more of a tightly contested race than Micah Benuelos because you have some really, really big-time schools that are in the mix there. Mcveigh did take some official visits over the summer. Like I said, obviously, Oregon being one of those big official visits. Looking through right now, I believe he also made it out to Texas A&M and Michigan State before he got to Oregon. Okay, so I'm seeing some pictures from Michigan State here from his visit. This dude's been all over the country lately, but that Michigan State OV was definitely one that left a pretty strong impression. Mel Tucker, I think, is really set to do some big things on the recruiting trail there, especially after the success that they enjoyed in the 2021 season. Let's see what else we have here. He also made it out to LSU in June, but LSU isn't in the running anymore. And then he also made it out to Texas A&M for his first official visit, it looks like. So I think that Texas A&M, Michigan State, maybe don't have the most illustrious history of sending offensive linemen to the pros, but that's something that Oregon really has on their side right now. I think when I was talking to Miles after that official visit, he was telling me about how great of a relationship he has with Coach Clem. And then he also threw a fun fact my way that I didn't know, that he said that Adrian Clem has the most offensive linemen in the NFL right now that he coached at the college level. So I think that pedigree is something that really stands out to Miles Mcveigh. Parents loved the visit. I think that Oregon's in a great spot with Mcveigh to potentially land a commitment from him. And it just is another example of how this Oregon staff I feel like they've really spread out their commitments pretty well. I know a lot of fans were wondering why nothing was happening for a while, but now that they have Dante Moore in the fold, maybe we're going to see some of that domino effect, see some of these commitments start to roll in at the potentially at the end of July, early August, mid-August, going into the season. Because a lot of these guys, you got to keep in mind, they want to have their recruitments wrapped up, finalized before their senior season starts, so they can just focus on ball, just focus on, going out with a bang, making the most of the time with their teammates, chasing a state championship. That's what everybody wants as a senior, right? You can't go out on a better note than that. So I think that that's something really big that you got to watch out for with Miles Mcveigh. Miles Mcveigh, rather, is a big guy that you need to watch out for. I like where Oregon's at with him. And then another guy that I think I'm going to mention here as someone that I think Oregon could be in a really good spot for. Talked to him a couple times throughout his recruitment, and that is 2023 defensive lineman Terrence Greene. Terrence Greene is a big-time defensive lineman out of Texas, specifically out of Sia Woods High School in Cypress. He's one of those guys whose stock has continued to rise on the recruiting trail throughout his time in high school. And he's another guy that Oregon got out for his official visit in June. They got him on campus for a visit in the spring, and I thought that was really big. You want to get these guys on campus for an unofficial visit. I don't know why I feel like I'm talking so much with my hands today. Maybe I'm doing that too much, but really important to get him on campus, as well as a lot of these big-time guys. Get them on campus for an unofficial, and then that way you can show them what you have to offer, and then you say, hey, we know you really liked it. come back out for that official and, let us give you the red carpet treatment. But he's spoken really highly of Lanning and Tosh Lapoy during his time from those visits. Like I said, 2 visits, and big for Oregon to get back into the state of Texas, continue going in the state of Texas on the recruiting trail. We've already seen it a couple times under Dan Lanning and this new staff. I think Kamari Terrell, the defensive back out of Shoemaker High School in Killeen, was the first Texas guy that we saw. You could argue it was Christian Gonzalez because he was originally from Texas, but that's a guy that got out of the portal, right? Following Demetrius Martin over from Colorado when he got the new defensive back job, the cornerbacks coach job. And then we've also seen some other Texas guys hop on board, notably Tyler Turner, the safety out of Brennan High School in San Antonio. And Texas is a state that is known for producing a lot of big-time talent in the trenches, right? You have Terrence Greene, and then you also have another big name on the recruiting chart for the Ducks, David DJ Hicks, out of Paytow High School, I believe it is. I double check that because it's going to bug me if I got it wrong. Yeah, Paytow High School in Katy. He had previously been at Allen High School where Kyler Murray went, and that's just an absolute powerhouse. But David Hicks is another huge guy on the defensive line for the Ducks. That's a recruitment that's going to be very heavily contested, but I feel like the Ducks are in a good spot there. No commitment timeline for him or commitment date. But back to Terrence Greene. Terrence Greene will be announcing his college commitment on July 30th. And shortly before that Oregon official visit, he or maybe it was right after the official visit. I have to double check here. So yeah, he had his Oregon official in June, but on June 20th, he announced a top 5 in his recruitment. That top 5, of course, consisted of Oregon, as well as a couple other schools. We got Florida, Texas, Michigan State, and Miami. You figure there had to be at least one Texas school in the running here, as the Lone Star State is loaded with talent every year. And if you're Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, if you're Steve Sarkisian at UT Austin, you're going to want to make sure that you're giving these other schools that are trying to invade your state a run for their money with these top in-state guys. So I feel like Terrence Greene is going to round out the third possible recruit that I think could be next to commit to Oregon. But they got more big names in Texas. I mentioned a couple of them. Another one is big-time edge outside linebacker Colton Vasek from Westlake Austin. And that is a super powerhouse program out there in Texas. So definitely have to keep an eye on him. I think he said on Instagram his commitment could be coming, quote, very soon. So no date for him just yet, but the Ducks also got him out for an official visit. I think you're probably seeing the pattern here. The Ducks have gotten so many of their top priority targets on campus before the dead period. So I think that we really like how they're managing that with the schedule. And that's the last mailbag question that we have.